What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sports with Herb. Again, as you guys know, I've been doing some videos as of right now for the January cap for the U.S. They're about to play Venezuela on Saturday, just a couple days away. So today's episode, just a little breakdown. I have the names on the roster on here, and then I'm gonna try to put a formation and players of who, in my humble opinion, who I'd like to see, and possibly who we can get, some good looks on. Give them a good amount of minutes to see like what they got to put forth. Again, this is all my humble opinion. These are the guys that I want to see. These are guys that could have some potential, some upside for later on in the future. There are some players who will let go. We'll get into that. And then after that, I also compiled a roster of players for whatever reason they weren't called up, or that their teams didn't let them go. They didn't let them to join this camp, but I also made a roster from them. I didn't make it the same way as, like, say, for example, this roster was compiled of 5 center backs, 4 goalkeepers. I didn't do it like that. I did name a 24-man roster, just like the same way, but it's just not built the same. Even though this roster got down to 21 instead of 24, for specific reasons, which we'll go into right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna go into straight detail into that, and then before I get started, don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your friends, put down in the comments so we can interact, some ideas, and yeah, let's get started. So first off, we're gonna go on ahead and look at the roster, go through it, and just as a recap of it. Here in goal, you have Zach Steffen, we have Matt Freese, Patrick Schulte, Drake Callender. Those are the 4 goalkeepers. We also have at right back, I put Dejon Jones at right back. Because mostly he's a righty, but he can play right or left for the versatility, which will come into it being a good thing, especially for when we get there. Shaq Moore as another right back, because he's righty. The center backs, Walker Zimmerman. Jalen Neal is in red because he has left camp. He had like a little minor little minor injury that he was dealing with, so they decided to let him go as of today, and he's going back to his new club, Montreal. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a bad, however you want to take it, but he was one of the guys that I was looking forward to look at, and before this even started, before he was in the back of my mind to put him like this video where I was gonna pair him with Tim Ream and Jalen Neal, experience and youth, just so you can go ahead and learn like actual in game from Tim Ream. Unfortunately, that won't be able to happen because he left, but it is what it is. So after Jalen Neal, you have Tim Ream, we have Miles Robinson, George Campbell, Max Arfstein, and then John Tolkien. Now, revert back to Dejon Jones. This is where her versatility kicks in because he can play right or left. And as of now, you only have one left back, which is Max Arfstein, because John Tolkien just got transferred to a club in the Bundesliga. I believe it was just a club that beat Gio Reyna's Borussia Dortmund during the week. And so he finally, like I said in the prior videos, he was here because he hadn't got any offers yet. But while being on this camp, he did sign a contract to move to Europe. So congrats to him. Hopefully he's just starts from there. He gets incorporated. He just gets some game time, gets on quick, and hopefully he can get some great experience from it for his career. Then we move on to the midfielders. We have Emeka Anelli, Ben Kramaski, Jack McGlynn, Diego Luna, and that's where you categorize the midfielders from them. Then we have the wide players, the wide forwards, I guess you could say. Caden Clark, Brian Gutierrez, Matko Milivojevic, Indiana Vasiljev, Brian White. Jesus Ferreira was the third person that got called off, I guess you could say. He was training individually, I guess from what they were saying. And they just basically, you can go ahead and go back to Seattle Sounders because you just got transferred from there from Portland Timbers. I think they're doing like a camp in Spain. And then, so you can go ahead and get incorporated with them and just get back to full fitness. Jesus Ferreira was probably a guy that I would have started, put up as a striker. Even though you can play multiple positions, I don't think strikers is the actual best position, but that's just me. And yeah, these are the 21 guys now. So now that we know that report is off, those guys won't be incorporated. So have to go on ahead and shift a little bit. But yeah, let's get started. So the formation that I would probably go on and put would be a 4-2-3-1. Obviously, this is just for formation-wise, because again, with what we've seen with Pochettino the last couple of games, is that he has that fluidity, that tactical fluidity, where he's able to change within game. So if you guys remember that Panama game for that friendly, he at times it looked like he was with 3 at the back. With, if I remember, it was Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, and then Joe Scally tucked in, so Musa can stay out wide. And then that's where he had his double 8s down through the middle, which were Gianluca Busio and Aiden Morris. And that gave liberty for Anthony Robinson on the left side to put out wide, and then Pulisic from the out wide to work the double 10s with Pulisic and Brendan Aronson. Then you had Musa on that side and Josh Sargent up top. So that was for that game. As you can see, there's fluidity. That's where the tactics come into play, because then that totally changed for the Jamaica game at home, because you saw Tim Weah came back for that game, and instead of him being on the right, he was on the left. And then at the left side, he also had Anthony Robinson, who at times was going in through there, but he was also tucking in as an extra midfielder, which is like a thing in today's soccer, to be that extra midfielder. And then they were double on that side with Pulisic and Tim Weah. Primarily, probably, possibly, because on that side, covert, was it Leon Bailey, which is probably Jamaica's best player, would be on that side. So probably to negate him having to stay up there and have Leon Bailey having to drop so they can go ahead and help out. So that's why they kind of like double teamed Pulisic, Weah, and then Anthony Robinson was bombing, but at times was also coming in to that midfield. So again, you see totally different teams, totally different structure of how it was. So this is just formation wise, obviously. So let's get on the players who I possibly would like to be. Just to go off for the goalkeepers, I would like to see one game for Matt Freese and one game for Patrick Schulte. I mean, Zach Steffen's already up there in years. You probably saw the good runs of him. Drake Callender, probably just because it's in Miami, the reason why he's there. When I get to my roster of players that could pod, I feel like one of these guys should have come in. But I mean, like I said, so for this far, we'll just start off with Matt Freese being in goal. Let me put the last names. Matt Freese would be the goalkeeper. At right back, again, Dejon Jones, versatility, I would put him as a starting right back. Again, the two down the middle, now, again, it would have been great to see Jalen Neal and Tim Ream. Unfortunately, you won't be able to do it. But there's another youngster in there, in George Campbell, so I mean, why not give him a shot, So we have Campbell, and then obviously I've been talking a lot about Tim Ream, so Tim Ream will go in there, and I would love to see what Arston can do on this side. So that would be the 4 that you got here. Obviously, maybe now Arston, this is where it might come into where he'd be able to play that type of way that he does in Columbus, because they play with 3 in the back and he's more of a wing back. So again, like we said in the Panama game, Jones, if possibly, like Scally, would tuck in, and he would have a back 3 of Jones, Campbell, and Ream, leaving Arstead to go up and play that wing back position, kind of, because he's really great at what he does there. I've seen highlights from him, and he just got that something different about him. So again, a 4-2-3-1, but it varies. Even a 4-2-3-1 could actually even vary into between like a 4-3-3, however you want to see it, however it is position wise, like game in. So we'll just leave it at that. Here are the 2 double pivots, I guess you can say. I would have obviously probably Anelli as one, because he seems like the only 6 that you brought in, and he's more of he's good on the ball, he can dribble, but I think he's also, it brings that rock solid force brute that you need in there. From here, it would kind of I don't know, different. I would want to put Kremaski in, but Pochettino does like players who are good with the ball, and so do I. Even though I keep saying that this is just my humble opinion, but I'm trying to like mix in what he might do and what I'd like to do. So I'd give Jack McGlynn, a shot, even though at Philadelphia Union this past couple of this year they're playing like an inverted 4-3-2-1 kind of, and he was one of those center mids. But I think with his passing range, he can, in that left foot of a one that he has, he can facilitate and play that position. Here, the three, it gets interesting, but at the same time, Pochettino said when he's in his front three in that final third, he gives you that freedom to go on ahead and play. And obviously, creative players, they thrive on that. Like that's their sweet spot. Just let it go and ahead and do what they do. So down the middle, I would want to go with Brian Gutierrez. Actually, I go with Guti. On this side, the left side, I go with Diego Luna just because that's where he usually plays and he's more comfortable with. And then on this side, why not give it to Caden Clark? Up top, if Jesus Ferreira wasn't injured, he would probably be there. But now that he's not, why don't we just go on ahead and give it to Adjiman? I mean, he plays up top on his own. He's fast, he's strong, he's tall, he's lengthy. He's got those long strides. And, I mean, again, one that out of the player pool, out of the other strikers that are abroad, he's just brings something different. So, I mean, why not go ahead and give this a shot? It's a pretty balanced side, especially with these two right here. They could even be like or they'd be able to overload this left side, all right there with Arston. Just the combination plays that I can see these two going in. It would be really nice to see. At the same time, they need to get the ball from, up here, and McGlynn would be great at finding those spaces, finding those gaps. He has that left foot. So possibly even at times, McGlynn might roam, and he could be here on the Nelly side, but able to pass through the gaps here, and obviously here. Obviously, he'd also be able to play out wide, because Jones likes to bomb over the top, so he could play over the top, this way, because his passing range is just, he's able to do it. I've seen him in a couple of games, and then you could even play it over the top or down the bottom here, because Adjiman, obviously, he could be a target man. He's tall, and he can go on ahead and settle. So this kind of gives you like that fluidity, that fluctuation, where like, hey, you can play down the middle, play 1-2s, you can find the gap. Clark could stay out wide, Jones, or Clark could be like a hybrid winger. We could tuck in, let Jones. The same way with Luna. Luna could probably combine a lot here. These two are really exciting to see. Brian Gutierrez and Diego Luna. I hope they show out because they're one of the youngsters and they have potential. Obviously, Caden Clark as well, because for some reason they saw potential in him and he got that move to Europe. I mean, obviously he came back, but the end of the year with Montreal, he really had like a resurrection, especially because they were playing him in that attacking midfield position, that double 10 with Bryce Duke. So I feel like this would be, good. Obviously you have Tim Ream, who's good on the ball. He'll be able to play out. Hopefully he's got some rest and he doesn't botch some balls like he did towards in the Nations League and some of the friendlies. But I mean, and Campbell could just learn from him. I mean, another possibility that you could have here would probably be like Miles Robinson, but you already seen what Miles Robinson can do, so why not just give another youngster like a shot? Obviously, Walker Zimmerman too. He's okay. He's probably better at long balls than he is anything like playing out of the back, so he's kind of suspect. So, I mean, the other player that I really wanted to see was Ben Kremaski. And if you want to go in ahead and switch to a 4-3-3, I mean, at times you could probably put Kremaski out on this right side if you really wanted. And when they're attacking, it'll be this. But when they're defending, he can slot in. There, it's just Brian Gutierrez would have to like be out wide. Or you could play like a 4-3-1-2. 4-3-1-2. Where you have the three midfielders, with obviously Hanelli, McGlynn, and then McGlynn and Nelly, and you incorporate Ben Kramaski into the 3 center mids. Obviously, you have one that's a little bit more holding. McGlynn, Kramaski. Yeah, let's just change it up here. So you have Nelly there, and we'll just put Kramaski. And then, if you wanted a striking pair, you would probably have to, and then obviously keep Aji. It could be either Brian White or why don't we give Mako. So this is another formation. We just change it up again just to see different formation, different players. 4-3-1-2. Obviously these three are the center mids. They have different types of playing styles, so they can go ahead and like work really well. From here though, in the 4-3-2-1, Arvston and Jones would be bombing forward because you do need width. And like I said, obviously him and Columbus Crew, he can do it. Jones, I've seen him where he's just up and down, up and down. He's got good stamina, so he can go. So we just switched it from like a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-1-2. Obviously sacrifices some players, but I mean, if you really wanted, you can go on ahead and put Brian Gutierrez here as well, because I mean, he gives that extra good ball possession on there. So you can incorporate all these guys who really wanted to see, you know, Kramaski, McGlynn, Luna, Guti, who are really like the youngsters on here. And obviously you would sacrifice Caden Clark, but I mean, you know, there's 2 games after you could bring them in, and you know, they can make it work. So like I said, there's different ways on having this go, but to start off, I would like to see that 4-2-3-1 with those 2, and then we had, so this would be my starting 11. Obviously, would like to see. I mean, it looks pretty nice on paper. I mean, on the board, it could work. It could make it work. I mean, this would be great to see because you have youngsters. You have a little bit of everything that that you'd be able to go on ahead and incorporate. You'd see guys, and obviously, I think Guti and McGlynn have played in the youth, in the under 20s, so there wouldn't be any surprises there. They can go ahead. I think Luna and McGlynn as well have also played together, so you have like that little connection. I can go on ahead and work there. But yeah, this is mine. This is how I like to go for the first game against Venezuela, and I think it worked fairly good. So now what we're going to do, we're going to erase this whole thing, and we're going to go ahead and put the roster of players that I compiled and see how it would fare against this team right here. And see other players that weren't called up for whatever reason. Again, it wasn't a different reason because their team didn't let them go. Even though Pochettino did really ask for all the MLS teams to go ahead and cooperate, didn't happen. You know, they're not forced to, so can't blame them. But you know, there's one guy that I thought should have actually got caught up was Chris Brady. This roster, there was like a little adjustment, I guess you could say, because on like our original guys that I mentioned from the MLS, there was some guys that I didn't even put on there. I might have overlooked them, and you know, they just weren't on there. But when we get to them, we'll see who it is. So Chris, again, here I only brought 2 goalies instead of 4. So Chris Brady, and we're just gonna put Rom Celentano as my 2 goalkeepers. Right back, there was several guys you can go ahead and call up, but I gave it a shout out to Jake Davis, and I put Ariel. Other guys that you could have put on here were Cody Baker and Reed Baker Whiting, who wasn't called up into the under 20s. Again, because there was an under 20 camp, and these guys didn't get called in. Again, no surprise, probably if they didn't let Jackson Reagan go, why would they let the youngsters go? I mean, they're not allowed. So another one that wasn't called up for our center backs was Noah Cobb. So here we go, going ahead, another youngster that we can go ahead and try out. So we have Noah Cobb, obviously. I'm gonna put Jack Reagan. I'm pronouncing the name because you can see my writing isn't the best. Here, I wanted to incorporate Reggie Cannon. Because when he was at Boa Vista, he did play as a center back on the right center back spot instead of like right back or right wing back. So again, he gives you the flexibility to him having to play center back, but at the same time playing right back. So if he doesn't get the start at center back, he can go ahead and play right back over Jake Davis and Nathan Herrio. Again, it's probably like three right backs, which is no need. But with the original squad taking like 5 center backs, it kind of really did deplete your center back case. Because as you can see right now, I only have 2 that are actual, Cobb and Jackson Reagan. Reggie Cannon can do the work there, so I mean, why not? And this is one of the guys that I made this roster before knowing that Sam Rogers, he played in, I believe it was Denmark, and he did get his 1 cap and a Camp Cupcake where he was playing in one of those Scandinavian leagues. I can't remember which one. And he came in as a sub against Colombia when they played over here. So now he's with the Chicago Fire, actually. He just got signed to them. So the first person in the game was Cap Craigborn. Oh, I don't know if Craigborn Halter was there, or if it was somebody else. It was after. I can't remember, but Sam Rogers would be one. He looked pretty calm on the ball. When I remember seeing it, he's tall as for a center back. Looked pretty composed. He went air duels on there. So I mean, again, this is a guy that you could probably go ahead and see how it is. I think he's still fairly relatively young, like 23, 24. So he is back in the, he is in the MLS now with Chicago Fire. So I mean, I guess it kind of counts. But he was one of those guys that we adjusted to just because of the fact that there really wasn't any more center backs, I guess. I mean, I was contemplating for Montreal to do Tristan Blackman, but he plays more of a line of 3. Not to say that he can't play in a 4, but I just want to go ahead and get Sam Rogers, like, you know, one of those outside cases a call. For the left backs, I went ahead and put John Nelson because you know I'm a Galaxy fan, and he did the job as soon as Alde got hurt. He was really solid. You know, it's not like he's gonna get any call up anytime soon. But I mean, again, since it's just compiled of rosters of just like pure base players, MLS base player John Nelson was there. It's pretty hard to find another one. I mean, the left back I was going for the left back from Colorado Rapids, so Stan Bynes, but with Galaxy, those guys got tore up. I mean, you know, it's not to say it was either his fault or someone else's fault, but I mean, yeah, John Nelson was solid. So, and here's where I incorporated some other youngsters that came in because again, Peyton Miller wasn't called into the under-20s, so I mean, why not give the youngsters a shot if you can see them play? So I added Peyton Miller to this roster as a left back. Now, this is where the midfielders come in. One player who put on his Instagram, he said, I don't know why, and he said ION, so I mean, I don't know. We have Daniel Edelman. Let me see, Dan, I'm just going to put Dan Edel. I also have Edwin Cerrillo from the Galaxy. He was actually one that I thought would get called up, but a couple other people thought so too. He was vital for them. Edwin Cerrillo. And then this is a guy that I overlooked myself, Owen Wolff. Again, if this is for an opportunity, Camp Cupcake for youngsters, he's a perfect one for it. And then another guy was Cole Bassett. I really thought he was going to get called up. For whatever reason, he didn't. But kind of helps us out here because we get him for the midfielders. Another midfielder, I'm just going to put DJO for Georgi Mihailovic. I'm going to put Mihai. As a creative type player, I mean, went to Europe, came back, but I still feel like he has potential. In his first move to Europe, I think he should have gone somewhere else other than the Eredivisie. I feel like he should have gone to maybe Italy or Spain, because when he left with Montreal, from Chicago to Montreal, once he got to Montreal, he was a nice player. You know, even did good for the Gold Cup until a couple of games after, where everyone was just either too tired or that roster just wasn't compiled good. But you know, Georgi Mihailovic was there. Again, I added some names here because like I said they took some of the other ones, so just to fill up a roster space, I guess you can say. But I mean, they're still kind of intriguing. I would put Bryce Duke. Another attacking type player. Bryce Duke here, another guy. Quinn Sullivan. I mean, Quinn Sullivan, he played, I don't know, everywhere for that Philadelphia Union team as a center mid because they played 4-3-1-2. He even played one of the two strikers, but I always saw him like a lot, kind of like out wide, drifting in. So he was one that I thought would have been like really intriguing to see in. I also have Zeal Jackson. He got a move to Columbus. Didn't get much playing time, but I mean, he was in a Camp Cook before, I think last year. Got in a couple of minutes. Seems pretty decent, so I mean, still fairly too young as well. And we also need wide players. Again, here I just put in some speed. Didn't have the best of season, but we'll put Bernard Kamungo. Go check out his story. I've seen it the last couple games, and it's inspiring story. So I mean, go check it out. One guy that I thought was gonna be on the 20s wasn't, but we have him here is Nico Sakidis from San Jose Earthquakes. Played in the under-20 tournament for the CONCACAF. Was named the best player. This guy has potential. Lefty, nice on the ball. So if he wasn't getting called up there, he should have probably got cut up to the actual roster. I have Nico Sakidis. And then, I forgot to put Josh Atencio here. One of the other midfielders. He can also play center back for whatever reason. Did go to the Olympics as a backup. Got some playing time because, I don't know who. Somebody got hurt. And he got some playing time onto there. He was also in a Camp Cupcake recently, last year. And then since we do need wide players, we did come back. I'm originally put Neem. And then for Neem Fasha, Bershimas. I'm gonna put Bershi. He was also on the under 20. He's only like 16. Again, Peyton Miller, Neem, give the youngsters some shots. I mean, it can only be beneficial for them, so why not? And then for up top, really don't have much options. I went and going ahead and thought for a guy that I mentioned before was Theo. I'm just gonna put Theo Kudia-Petro. Plays for DC United. You know, he could play as a striker. Pretty good player. I remember a run that he made for DC United on his only ticket. So I mean, there's potential. I think he's only like 20 something. And I'm gonna put Matt Hoppe. If you guys remember, this is the guy who was at Schalke, scored a hat trick, and I think he's more of a striker as his movements that I saw instead of a winger. I know for a Gold Cup, for the BC team for the US, Berhalter playing him on that left side. Usually a lot of people had him playing for the left side. I think he was on loan at San Jose too, and they had him playing as on that left side as a winger. But I think his movement, his way of playing, from what I remember him scoring that hat trick, his movement is like a striker. The way that he made those hat tricks, that hat trick of his, all those goals look like a regular few striker. So if you play him in his, what would be his position, I guess you could say, as a striker, he might surprise you. I mean, he did just came to a mutual agreement with Middlesbrough from the second division in England to terminate his contract. So he's basically a free agent. I mean, why not? Maybe stay in Europe somewhere. He was at Mallorca as well in Spain. Got loaned out to somewhere in Scotland. And, I mean, he did look pretty impressive with, I'm saying, like, those flashbacks from that hat trick. Like, those goals, like, they were really nice. So, I think they might have got relegated after. I don't know if he just didn't want to play second division, but from how his career is going, I think his best bet would have stayed in that second division team with that Bundesliga, especially if he impressed. But who knows what the situation was there. But, I mean, I'd go ahead and give him a shot. I mean, let's have anywhere to go. So, yeah, this is my 24 guys that I would put in. Now, I really like this 4-2-3-1 formation just because it could be flexible. So we're going to try and put a 4-2-3-1 for them. Here, I think I'm going to put Brady and Gould at right back. I'd want to go with Reggie Cannon. You have Jackson Reagan and Sam Rogers. Those are two really tall guys, and not a lot of. I mean, not to say that most center backs are fast. I mean, they're more position wise. So if they're positioned well, you know, speed isn't all that there. I'm gonna have to go with Harrio just because what I saw from the Olympics, he was pretty solid. At right back, again, I'm gonna put Ray for Reagan. Then I'll incorporate Cannon. You know what? Just put Cannon on this right center back position. We'll put Ray. I think he is comfortable enough to play on that left center back position, even if it is a righty. And then as a left back, I'll put John Nelson. Because at the same time, probably Peyton Miller can play a little bit more up. Edelman, just put that on. I would want to put Cerrillo, but just for the sake of it, we're going to put Cole Bassett here because he used to play a little bit more up, but for Colorado Rapids this year, if Georgi Mihailovic was fit and he wasn't at the Olympics or whatnot, or he's barely coming back from injury, so that might be another thing. But usually, if he was fit, I saw that he played a little bit more retracted, more than what it was more up here. So just to leave that Colorado Rapid function, we'll put DJO for Georgi Mihailovic in front of him. I mean, they were comfortable like that. They made a really good pairing. So we'll just leave that there. This is where, you know, it gets kind of interesting because you need wide players, but at the same time, in a 4-2-3-1 formation, it kind of is hybrid for a half winger, half attacking mid, I guess if you want to call it, for the two outside attacking midfielders. Again, it could function, but I mean, if you go ahead and give them that liberty and that freedom to make in-game decisions to see how it's going. Nikos Akidis was playing as a double pivot, I've seen sometimes for San Jose, but here he's more of attacking. So we'll just put Nikos Akidis on this right side because he's a lefty. I'd put Quinn Sullivan over here on this left side. Like, I seen him pop up on the right, left, down the middle. So I mean, he gives you that fluidity. And up top, you really only have like two options, Cudi Petro or Hoppy. And then just what I saw, why not just give Hoppy a shot up top as a 9. I mean, he's pretty good with the ball at his feet, so with him checking in, with him his hold up play, his link up, you know, it might be pretty good. Obviously, again, you can go ahead and switch this, so a 4-3-3. You can go ahead and probably take out Georgi Mihailovic and put in Owen Wolff, just so you can get more of a ball player in there. I remember I seen him play in a Leagues Cup game. I think it was against Pumas, where he was like surrounded by like 3 players and he was able to get out of it. Also, there's upside for him there. Again, if you want to switch it, Harrio can get up. John Nelson's pretty solid coming up, but he also doesn't shy away from his defensive responsibilities. Cannon, you have speed just in case if Harrio's caught off wide or Edelman can't get back. Cannon can cover those spaces. He is pretty fast. You have this connection here with Georgi Mihailovic, as we were talking about. And so, I mean, Nikos Akidis is a smart enough player. He can drift in, wide, take you on. Plus, he has that nice left of a foot. And obviously, you know, when we make changes, we put Peyton Miller here. You know, because, I mean, just because we put him on the roster, going ahead and doesn't mean that they're not going to get playing time. You know, this is all hypothetical. I'm making it seem like if, you know, they're actually in there. But hypothetically speaking, if there was, I mean, if you put him on here, I mean, why not give him a shot? So I'd probably give Nelson either like a good half and then put Peyton Miller in. And then at the same time, I'd probably either take out Harrio, move Cannon, and bring in Noah Cobb just to give him time as well. Another youngster. And obviously a like-for-like position, Edelman and Cerrillo. You could throw in Owen Wolff in there. And then also from Quinn, give Barcimas a try and then switch Cudi Petro with Hoppy. Those are just the guys that I would like to see. But let me see if I can afford to one formation of the guys opposite. I think, who did we say? Oh, we said Matt Freese, huh? I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but I'll just shout out the names. Matt Freese. And then on this right side, we had day one, just so we can go ahead and compare. Hopefully I have enough space. I had Dejon. Who else did I have as a center back that was starting? I had Tim Ream on this side as a left, and we had, George. Let's erase that. It's not Campbell, it's Campbell. And then Luna and Clark. And then right here, so let's move Hoppy a little bit less, just okay. Some space. Put Hop. And then here, so again, in a battle between 4-2-3-1 formations, again just formation wise, but going in obviously tactical wise, it might change up depending on how it's do. I think it would be a pretty even battle. I still think this side here, the actual camp roster team, probably has a little bit more attacking upside to them. Just mentioning Guti, Luna, McGlynn, who's good, Clark, and then they probably do have the better ball playing center back. And Arfson is good going forward. Not to say that these guys aren't, but I think he's just a little bit better. Yeah, I think it would be pretty even. I still think this team probably, in the end, edges out and wins by maybe a goal or two. My predictions, again, all humble. But these are some guys that you could have probably incorporated. Obviously, if Rayan would have called up, he would probably be here instead of George Campbell. Bassett would probably be here over Anelli. You can see a Bassett, McGlynn. Quinn Sullivan, obviously, as well. And even if Nico Sakidis isn't starting, he'd be a good option to bring off the bench as well. So, I mean, head to head, maybe a 2-1, 3-2, or 3-1. You never know. But I think it's pretty even, I don't know what you guys think. Go ahead and leave in the comments. I will try to interact for as much as possible. But, as you can see, there's some depth to the MLS, so it's not all negative thoughts just because, it's Camp Cupcake. And that's what they call, that's what they reference to. But, I mean, you do have some interesting players that possibly in the future could get, call-ups, or they could leave to Europe. Obviously, Tolkien already left, which is good for him because we need a good backup left back position for Jedi. And then Luna, Guti, and McGlynn are guys that obviously are young enough and they should make that jump. Clark left, came back, found his feet, so possibly in the near future, if he gets another good season, he can go over again, more mature. He's got playing time, so which is neat as a youngster to go on ahead and develop. Matt Freese is also talked about. You could get a hop over there, and with our goalkeeper situation, it wouldn't be the worst thing because, I mean, you can see he's played in the MLS. He can hang here, so, I mean, why not give it a shot over there? Chris Brady is still young enough, possibly if he doesn't have a good season, he can get caught up over there. Harriel played the Olympics. Jackson Reagan was deemed to be called up, just didn't let him go. Bassett had a loan, actually, now that I remember it, in a club in the Netherlands. Went fairly well. He was playing more of as an attacking outside player. Did fairly decent. Came back from that loan. Georgi Mihailovic was also over there. Edelman for the final for the MLS Cup and New York Red Bulls. So, he has that experience. Quinn Sullivan's still young enough. Later, a couple years, he can make that hop. Nico as well. Hoppy has played over there and over here as well, so he has some experience. He's been to a tournament. So, I mean, again, it's not all just negative things that can come out of this. If you really try to keep a positive mindset, there is stuff that you can go ahead and look forward to. So, a lot of people are just like, oh, let's just get rid of it, why not? But, no, let's try to turn it around, get a positive aspect of it, see and compile and try to make what you can do, what you can make out of it, and, just Because, I mean, these guys are, if they're playing professionally, I know they're over here, but, I mean, they played at other tournaments, so like, the potential is there. You just gotta tap into it, you know, and then why not give them opportunity? So, again, let me know what you guys think. Put it in the comments. But, you know, fairly off, let's just put final score here. Final score, I'm gonna just say with the 3-1. So let's circle this hole. Okay. Give them the benefit of the doubt that they'll win. But you know, I think it'll be fairly like head to head there. So again, don't forget to share with your friends, like, comment, subscribe. You know, thumbs up, whole shebang, and we'll see you guys back at the next video, which would probably be after the game. You know, try to do like a certain analysis of how they played against Venezuela and what we saw. But thank you, blessings to everyone.